The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has arguably repositioned itself to unsettle merchants of illicit drugs across the country. Operatives of the agency often track down traffickers with multiple seizures and consequent court convictions. But the agency is now fortifying its operational base to the maritime sector. And that new vigor is our focus on this episode of the program. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jeffrey Uzongo. In response to the rising trend in the demand for and trafficking of narcotic and psychotropic substances, which adversely affects the international image of Nigeria in the 80s, it informed the establishment of a federal law enforcement agency to curb the proliferation of illicit drug, not only in Nigeria but across sub-Saharan Africa. Established by Decree No. 48 on December 29, 1989, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has been in charge of drug policy and control in Nigeria. The agency obligated to curtail illicit production, importation, exportation, sale, and trafficking of psychoactive substances. Employees of the agency are mandated to carry out interdiction and destruction of narcotic drugs and other illicit substances while they engage in preventive drug abuse activities such as advocacy, counseling, and rehabilitation of drug users. To fulfill the mandate, however, thousands of expert narcotic operatives and well-trained support staff of the agency work across the country, including international airports, seaports, border, and major highways. These operatives are actively engaged in the tracking, arrest, and prosecution of traffickers of dangerous substances under extant laws. The agency has 14 directorates, 14 zonal commands, and 111 state area commands. The NDLEA also operates 10 special airports and seaports commands with presence in the nation's airports and seaports, among other strategic locations. Efforts were put in place by the agency, and in recent time, the agency has experienced a renewed vigor due to the current leadership by repositioning the activities of the NDLEA. Within a year of its takeoff, over 70% of the workforce were promoted, and about 118 families of officers who died in active service since 2014 were paid their entitlement. On the 18th of January 2021, the agency launched 8 galvanized operatives to work round the clock in seamless, coordinated, goal-oriented actions, including tracking and arresting of drug traffickers, interdiction of illicit substance shipments, and fast-track prosecution of offenders.
What is your name? How old are you?
41 years.
Which state are you from?
Anambra.
What flight did you arrive with?
Ethiopia.
Which country did you arrive from?
Kigali.
Is Kigali your first point of departure?
Yeah. I transit in Ethiopia.
You transit in Ethiopia. Why are you in this office?
Because of the drug I carry.
Because of the drug you carry. Who excreted this raft of drugs?
I'm the one.
You are the one that excreted it. Who is the owner of this drug?
I'm the one.
You are the owner of the drug. Where are you taking this drug to?
Lagos.
You are taking it to Lagos.
Yes.
Where are you going to sell the drug?
Lagos.
Lagos. Lagos. How many times have you done this? This is your first time. Can you please count the drug you excreted? Count it loud and clear so that everybody will hear. Put it like this.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
As you said, this is your first excretion. Do you still have another one in your stomach?
Yes.
The operational maxim of the agency aimed at launching offensive action took the battle to the doorsteps of drug barons and traffickers, yielding to the arrest of over 12,000 suspects, 1,400 prosecutions, with over 1,500 pending cases in 1 year. About 8,000 drug users have been counseled and rehabilitated across the country. In early 2022, in Edo State, acting on credible intelligence, operatives of the NDLEA intercepted about 1.5 million tramadol tablets on its way to Kebbi, while other illicit substances were intercepted at the Lagos airport and the seaport. Days later, 4 traffickers coming in from Brazil were intercepted at the E-wing arrival of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos, while 6 other suspects were arrested during a raid on the Abuja garden over the sale of illicit concoction and items. In the second month of the year, 7 suspects were arrested with 568.2 kilograms of illicit drugs in Pattaya area of Lagos Island after a face-off with the NDLEA operatives and youth in the area. Sniffer dogs are instrumental as well to the detection of illicit drugs. At one of the nation's busiest ports in Apapa, Lagos, 3 machines loaded in a 4-foot container which had passed through 3 countries and was transloaded in a North African country was intercepted containing over 400,000 tablets of Captagon, a brand of amphetamine weighing 74.1 kilograms valued at 6 billion naira. In February, authorities of the NDLEA declared a suspected Deputy Commissioner of Police Abba Kyari wanted over 25 kilograms of cocaine drug deal. It was alleged to have bribed NDLEA officers with $61,000 to retrieve seized drugs while replacing them with dummy exhibits. Responding to this call, authorities of the Nigerian police arrested Kyari and 4 members of his team and handed them over to the anti-drug agency.
The initial reaction was that, so all those stories we've been hearing, they're really true? That this is antecedents? That was it, because we have no doubt about what we have seen. Prima facie case laid bare before us. And unfortunately, without even the decorum of somebody of that level, a Deputy Commissioner of Police, acting like a common criminal, was very painful. It was more of pain rather than being excited that you caught, if you could have that at that level, how many more of such do I know that we have? That's the pain. So both on NDLEA side and the police side, it's a lot of pain for us. Drug and oil, wherever you put them, attracts criminals. Just like palm wine attracts flies. Wherever you put them. We're having an experience now at the ports where every day somebody wants to go and attack one container or the other, desperately, just because of tramadol. Anywhere you have drugs. So NDLEA is not a collection of angels. You recall that some time ago, with our international partners, we concluded that some 70 officers were no longer useful for the purpose they were engaged. And we disengaged them with the approval of the president. And we have peace. Because in collaboration with barons, seized drugs were becoming like semovita in between the airport and Shore Road. So we thought that was not why NDLEA was created. And they were exited. So it sent a shockwave around the officers. In fact, some of them were so sure that they were not going anywhere. This oil corrupts. I don't know why, but I know that this is very consistent. So once in a while, we take our officers for necessary checks when it becomes necessary that they have to go into some certain sensitive areas. If, for instance, you are going to become an exhibit handler, we take you for necessary tests, we do a background check on you again, regardless of how many years you have spent in NDLEA. It has helped a lot. Marwa didn't just jump into NDLEA. He was chairman of PASEDA. And what he found shocked him. And as an administrator, himself, in his own right, he knew that this was not acceptable. On the part of governments, on the part of the officers, on the part of Nigerians. Somebody has to bring them to work together. Because if you think you have the level of drugs we have in our country, and you are safe because you and your small children, your small family, there's no drug in your house, you are wasting your time. If about 15 million Nigerians are on drugs, have taken drugs at one time or the other, but addicts are actually about 3 to 5 million. You cannot sustain that, Mokwe. You cannot sustain that. It means a lot. In the South, it's even worse. Lagos, about 33%. How are you going to handle that? It's chaos. Day to day, these things you are seeing will keep recurring. You have a lot of homeless who are on drugs. No. Homeless is not just, it's a lot of struggle to be on the streets. So to remain sane, you need something to encourage you. We all have gone through this thing enough. You cry every day because of parents who come thinking that you can help them get their children off drugs. They come and cry, and you see a whole home that you hear big names that you hear, comfortable in life, collapsing on their head like this, and you look at them, you cannot help. What can you do? This is the little area that government has given to me to help Nigeria. Nobody, no compromise on this. This is a classical case where you will see that at a certain point, we stand for our countries, not for our agencies. There must be a Nigeria before there is Nigerian police. And the IG has demonstrated that. The chairman NDLEA has demonstrated that. The chairman NDLEA has said, if you have your evidence against any of the officers, apart from the area that they were allowed to play along, bring it. The officer will be prosecuted along with his collaborators, if any. And again, like I said earlier, police has demonstrated enough goodwill, good faith, by saying that our officer was on suspension. If he had to go on this type of assignments, even at his level, he ought to have taken the authorities into confidence and will now decide whether the matter was so peculiar that only you could have gone. How many DCPs do they have in the police that they will now sacrifice the entire police for him? Unless, of course, like the stop to blackmail in the first reaction that, this morning now, this portion must go to my bosses. It's all blackmail. And even those who mistakenly thought that, NDLEA, why did they rush to this? Dog no eat dog and all that. They withdrew such statements when they saw the magnitude of the damage. It's not about protection of agencies now. It's about protecting our country. Okay. Your agency will not exist if this country is brought down. What agency now will go to these areas in Katsina that are being affected by? What agency? Everybody ran away. And only the people, the poor people. So I think we should let these institutions work. And if the people who are there will not allow it to work for Nigeria, get people who will allow the institutions to work for the sake of everybody. The drug situation has gotten to a point where nobody is spared. Forget about the names we call ourselves, big names. Forget about governor, forget about ministers. Drug enter these houses. These huge fences, they don't stop drugs from entering. See how many women, 1 in every 4 women you see on drugs. Where is the engine room of a family? Each family makes a country. So if in the engine room of 1 of every 4 is in trouble, we are in trouble. Drugs is not something that you play around with, particularly with the level of illegal weapons in our country. And money in wrong hands. Some people didn't sweat for anything, just money landing on his table and can control unemployed. No. We don't have too much time for this kind of ceremony. If somebody is sitting in the position of chairman NDLEA or IGP and he thinks defending that seat is more important than defending our country, then he should leave and let our country move on. I call upon Nigerians who are aware of such transaction or relationship, send in your memorandum and just keep quiet and be watching. Why all this talk? Send in your petition and say that enough of this destruction of this country by you guys pretending to be working for us. Please handle this. Send in your petitions and you see that there's no sacred cow. No sacred cow. That's why we're waiting. The moment you arrest somebody like this, you expect things to be thrown up to shock so that, the officers are afraid of coming up. No. Bring evidence that apart from, Mr. Chairman, apart from the story of you and asking them to play along, did you also ask them to play along? This is the storyline of the earlier transactions. Period. You just wait and watch.
Kyari and his team have been charged, and 6 residential houses located in the Jare area of Maiduguri in Borno State have been marked by the NDLEA for possible confiscation, along with the account and asset of his deputy and other co-accused persons, as granted by the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami. Months after the NDLEA operatives arrested a suspected billionaire drug baron over his alleged involvement in the drug dealing with the former head of the intelligence response team, Abba Kyari, the agency alleged that he was arrested following months of surveillance and evasion of arrest on board a flight to Abuja. The pharmaceutical and plastic manufacturing company boss is said to have 103 bank accounts allegedly being used to launder money. After persistent surveillance, operatives also arrested a major illicit drug distributor in the South-South region of Nigeria. A 59-year-old wanted drug baroness and 9 of her associates and staff in Delta State were arrested in a coordinated operation at her expensive residence, drug bunks, and others in Warri, Delta State. In Rivers State, a 45-year-old Brazilian returnee who had just finished serving his jail term for drug trafficking in a South American country was arrested by the NDLEA operatives at the Port Harcourt International Airport upon his arrival from Brazil via Doha. The ex-convict imported 24 parcels of cocaine concealed in 12 tires of a lawnmower which bore some unique inscriptions suspected to be means of identifying the owners of the illicit items. The suspect claims one of his church members gave him the lawnmowers to deliver to his brother. Also in the nation's commercial hub, Lagos, a string of fresh offensives against drug cartels across Nigeria by the NDLEA led to the arrest of a fleeing drug kingpin which headed a syndicate operating at Murtala Muhammed International Airport, Lagos, and 6 other members of his gang. Members of the syndicate were alleged to be behind the smuggling of over 1.5 million tablets of tramadol recently seized by the NDLEA operatives. In collaboration with the aviation security and customs service personnel at the airport, the leader of the syndicate, a staff of NACO, had fled to Kaduna after allegedly depositing 19,800,000 naira cash with the Bureau de Change operator for onward transfer to his bank account. He was later arrested with 5 other persons involved in the crime. The general overseer of the Christ Living Hope Church was also caught in the dragnet of the operatives while allegedly traveling with 54 sticks of drugs wrapped around his body, which tested positive for cannabis at the Murtala Muhammed International Airport, Ikeja, Lagos, en route Nairobi, Kenya. Another passenger arriving from Sao Paulo via Addis Ababa with 40 parcels of 9.7 kilograms of cocaine concealed in body cream bottles, while about 101 parcels of cocaine concealed in children's duvet, also at the international airport, were arrested by the NDLEA. The NDLEA has also come under heavy criticism over its style of operations in some parts of the country, especially as seen in some viral videos across the social media. Some citizens have raised concerns over the invasion and raid of their homes in a Gestapo style without official warrant, thereby creating a window for criminals to impersonate as operatives of the NDLEA to perpetrate avoidable crimes. Allegations the agency has denied, citing sabotage as the intent of those promoting such perception of the NDLEA. The NDLEA, in a renewed mission to strengthen illicit drug operation in the maritime space, is collaborating with other security agencies, including the Nigerian Navy. The agency's Director of Seaport Operations, Omolade Faboyede, is at the Western Naval Command. Herself and the Maritime team are here to seal up arrangements with the Navy for the takeover of 2 panel boats and other operational equipment. Speaking at the handover ceremony of the 2 panel boats and other operational equipment by the Nigerian Navy to the NDLEA, the agency's Director of Seaport Operations explains that the NDLEA is determined to cripple the activities of drug cartels in the maritime space.
The synergy has already started. And from the speech you can hear that we have had several arrests that they have transferred to us, and we are working together. It is due to that collaboration that this is coming up. So it's a continuous synergy. It has already started already. We're already working together with the Navy. We're going to work together with Navy and other security agencies. We have been working with the naval units of the customs, of the civil defense. We are collaborating with them. No agency can do it alone. So we have to work with other agencies to effectively do this. And we also have our foreign collaborators that are collaborating with us on this. We have foreign collaborators apart from the security agency. I can assure you that that will be nabbed.
The acting flag officer commanding Western Naval Command, Rear Admiral Hamzat Kauje, says the support for the agency was to enhance its effort to fight the drug scourge and boost its capacity to curb illicit drug activities on the waterways.
There are different levels of training. The equipment that we are giving the NDLEA, they have different levels of training. We have the basic and the advanced level of training. So first of all, since this is the first time of them using this kind of equipment, we are going to give them the basic training as directed by the Chief of Naval Staff. Then later on, as we progress, we'll continue to give them the advanced training as required. The Chief of Naval Staff have already directed that the maintenance of the boats and other equipment given to the NDLEA is primarily their own responsibility. However, if they have other challenges, the Navy is ready to assist them at any level they want. The Gulf of Guinea is a very wide maritime space, and the Navy cannot do it alone. But the Chief of Naval Staff have already put so many measures in place to do our best. We are collaborating with other African countries. You know, we have Yaoundé Architecture. We have other collaborators, international collaborators that we are using, or we are collaborating with to make sure that we nip all these criminalities on board. It's not one country that can do it alone. It's a collective responsibility. And we'll make sure that we do what we are supposed to do.
At the Beecroft Jetty, Apapa, 2 panel boats and other operational equipment were handed over by the Navy to the Anti-Narcotic Maritime Squad. The agency aims to become the most proactive and leading drug enforcement agency in Africa and one of the best in the world, while contributing to the creation and maintenance of a positive image of Nigeria. Operatives say they are more determined to deploy all with the resources at their disposal for the total eradication of illicit trafficking in narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances. And that's it on this episode of the program. Thanks for your time and, of course, your usual company. I'm Jeffrey Uzongo.